When I say never play fair in an unfair world, what I mean is you have to take reality for what it is. For every man that you come across, he is likely still in his head, caught up, probably in love with a woman from his past that he cannot get back. These are the same men who decide after that heartbreak, whether it was him being a fool and doing some shit he wasn't supposed to be doing or her breaking his heart, whatever the case. These men decide in their minds, like, oh, now I'm about to be out here, shitting on everybody else I come across. I'm not going to put in the same amount of effort. Fuck love, blah, 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 blah. Or they use the next woman as kind of like a crutch. And they're like the problematic lover boy who will, indeed love bomb you, do all of the goddamn things in order to fill space so he can distract himself from actually working through that heartbreak or heartbreaks that he's had in the past. The reason why I say this is because, like I said, every nigga is caught up on a bitch that he cannot get back. And how I know this is true is because, nigga, bitches is me. Bitches is me. But you know what's crazy? I'm also going to be at some point, or have been, the woman who comes across the man who was heartbroken for whatever reason by a woman in his past, and he's been caught up on her. The difference between me and other women is I don't give a fuck. I quite literally don't give a fuck. As long as when I come around a man, and I don't give a fuck if he's love bombing either, because that's when niggas pull out their best shit. As long as when I go around that man, he makes me feel as if I am the only woman in the world, me not care. Me not care about none of that. I don't care. Because we all have our different roles to play. I don't get overly serious or overly emotionally attached to men because I already know how they operate. These same men will have all of this baggage from their past and they will still marry. They will still have children. They will still be in relationships. They will still be doing all and just performing. And that's the one thing about niggas that's really pathetic. They always just performing. You'll never know when a nigga is being himself. You could be with a nigga for 5 years and find out like, damn, I don't know who the fuck I'm with. His mask. He could have been performing for 4 years, and in year 5, you look at this nigga and be like, who the fuck am I with right now? Like everything that he is literally the antithesis or contradicts the man that he told you he was or that he was performing to be. And do people change? Certainly, but a lot of times men don't. Men typically don't change. They just get older, to be honest with you. But you know what happens? They get tired of pretending. They get tired of pretending, and they will use women to help themselves soothe over relationships that they haven't dealt with in the past. And this is why it is super imperative for every single person, man, woman, child, whoever, to work through your ego breaks. I don't like to call them heartbreaks because I'm a firm believer of, listen, this motherfucker still beat, still work. I'm able-bodied. You can't break my heart. Could you break my ego? Absolutely, if I let you. If I don't set up the right kind of boundaries for myself, and if I'm not living, I don't want to say carefree, but if I'm operating from a place of possession and not true love, because what true love is just like, yeah, I love you, I care about you, I enjoy you, but at any moment, if this is a situation that you decide that you don't want to be in anymore, then I respect that as well. And I still love you as long as you ain't, as long as we ain't going out on no fuck shit. You know, as long as when you get tired of this situation, you can come and talk to me like an adult and be like, hey, this isn't working out for me anymore. Or I can come to you and tell you as an adult, like, yeah, this ain't working out for me anymore. But yeah, like I said, it ain't never got to be like no knockout, drawn out thing. But I don't get attached to men because I understand that their feelings are very fickle and fleeting. I don't. I enjoy them for the moment. I tell y'all all the time, men are to be enjoyed. They are not to be possessed. Because if you actually sit down and talk to a man and he was I'm talking about extremely honest with you about who the love of his life is, it likely ain't you. It likely ain't. And listen, just like I said, like, I know for a fact that in a couple of people's stories, they be like, yo, I wish I never fucked that up. I wish I could get her back. Like, you know what I'm saying? All of it, like, I could be in a whole nother situation with a man and he'd be like, yeah, I was with her because, I fell out with my shorty. She was a vibe. She was cool and shit, but she wasn't the love of my life. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Because clearly there's people who are still hung up on me and people who ain't. That's just the game. That's just the way this shit go. You're going to have people who are more drawn to you and connected and attached to you than other people. And it just is what it is. You can't be everybody first love. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be the most intense shit that everybody done fucking had. If you have, then shout out to you. But like in most cases, like we all play a part of this shit. But for me, the reason why I just don't add too much seriousness onto this is because when you start to go investing heavy feelings into a man and then you start to go incorporate wanting to be exclusive with him and, marriage and starting a family and shit like that, it'll really hit your ego hard in a major motherfucking way to find out that this man will do all of this shit with you and he loves somebody else. Nigga. Homicide. I would like, what? Like, how could you do that? It's like I said, it's just better to and listen, like I'm not going and investigating. Like when I be talking to men and shit like that, and I'm getting to know them and they claim that they want to like date me and shit, I don't be asking them about bitches in they past. No, I might ask them about like situations that they dealt with and how they may overcome, situations of like stress and a part that they may have played. But I don't be like, what kind of women do you like and what was your situation? I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Nigga, the big dog is here. I don't care. I quite literally do not care. I don't care. Nigga, I'm the main attraction. I'm the main character in everybody's story, especially mine. So there's that. Yeah. You can call it cocky. You can call it what you want to call it. I mean, it is what it is. I know the kind of impact that I leave on people's lives, So, like I said, there's just rare instances that you'll like come across the man and he'll actually like have done the work on himself and he moves with a sense of integrity and he is just super admirable, like to the point where it just changes your whole idea of what a man is. And he comes into your life to really give you great experiences that you could remember forever, right? He isn't super possessive or anything. He wants to enjoy you. He wants to get on your program because he realizes how much it is. He realizes how much it is a pleasure to have access to a woman who's not only beautiful, but has a dope vibe and who's educated and intelligent and all of the great things. Has hobbies, has her own shit going on, got her own mind. Some men realize like, your archetype of woman, she don't just grow on trees. She don't just grow on trees. So you'll get a man who will meet you. And like I said, he's done the work. He's got over situations in his past. He ain't trying to use nobody as no distraction. He ain't got all of these different vices and different addictions to, deter him from doing the inner work. And he meets you and he really like, yo, like, I really want to show you why it didn't work with nobody else. That's my objective here. I'm not here to play games with you. Are there people in my past who I've dated who I love in a particular kind of way? Absolutely, but not in a romantic way, and that's respectful. I can respect that. I would be a fool to meet a man and then him tell me like he hates every single woman he ever dated, or he didn't have love still for every single woman he ever dated. Like, nigga, you going stretches and dating women for years, and you mean to tell me you ain't got a little love for him? Like, a little? You just hate everybody. You just into it with everybody. That shows me that you don't really like women. You never have. You date them, you have sex with them, you might buy things for them, whatever, but you don't really like women, because you can't be with somebody for years and then, you can't be with different women for years, experience them in all of these different ways and tell me that you don't care for nobody. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Like I said, I'm not a jealous woman. I'm very understanding. So like I said, regardless of the circumstance, whether a man has done the work on himself or whether he hasn't, and we just kicking and we having a good time, the only thing I ask is, don't come projecting, sulking, and bringing any of that miserable ass energy over here, because I'm going to humble the fuck out of you. I'm going to humble the fuck out of you in whatever way I feel like serving the fuck up. Because sometimes you could humble a nigga with your words, and then you could humble a nigga with silence. I can't promise which one I'm going to serve up, just depending on the day. It really depends on my mood. It really depends. But like I said, we all have a part to play in this shit. You know what I'm saying? I understand, especially men are imperfect fucking people. And like I said, if I have the chance to experience somebody for a short time, and we kicking and we vibing or whatever the case may be, and for whatever reason we fall out because maybe he finds somebody else attractive, or he want to go over there, or you know what I'm saying, for whatever reason we just fizzle out, I'm like, all right, cool, we had a good run. Like, I'm not about to be hung up on that. You could be a little disappointed, especially if somebody was like really fun. Like, really had like a sense of adventure, really gave you like dope conversations and shit like that. I'm not telling you to be a fucking robot and be like, oh, well, fuck all of these niggas. Like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you have to have a healthy level of detachment, of just understanding that anything is liable to happen with this human being that you are with. Life events change, all life situations and life events change all the motherfucking time. You know what I'm saying? So this motherfucker could be a vibe today and he could be venomous tomorrow. You just gonna have to expect that. And I'm not telling you to live from a place of fear. I'm telling you to live from a place of just being free. Enjoy people literally in the motherfucking moment. Because people wake up with different feelings every day. Right? And you have to know in your heart that just because somebody wants to disconnect from you, especially if you haven't done anything wrong, that is not a reflection of, anything that's in you that could be brought about that's like a shortcoming. Like, you just because somebody doesn't feel the need to want to be in your presence anymore, it doesn't mean that you lack anything. It just means that their interests have changed. And people do that all the time. As a woman, I know I do that all the time. I could be kicking with a nigga and I just be like, yeah, I'm not feeling this no more. And then we just don't see each other no more. Yeah. Now I'm an adult. Like, just depending on the situation, I don't mind telling a man like why I don't think the situation is the best thing for me or whatever. But like, just some fly by night shit. We only just, yeah. I'm not overly explaining. But yeah, like I said, I don't care. I don't care. I accept men for who they are and on the level that they are at. And I move accordingly. Period. Every man is not going to come with the depth, right? And the dope and deep conversation. Some niggas just come with the fun, and that's fine. It all depends on the kind of vibe that I'm on at the moment. But I'm not sitting there wrecking my brain wondering, oh my God, who does he find attractive? What about the women in his past? Who is he entertaining now? I quite literally don't give a fuck. You'll never, ever, 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 ever hear me ask about another woman, because I quite literally don't care. When you are spending time with me, are you providing a vibe that I can remember for the rest of my life? And sometimes when it comes to, like, I want to be very clear. There are men who can provide like these grand gestures, and they could really take you out and, you know, have a good time, and I believe in all of that. But there is a man who could come and sit and talk to you for hours, and you are just completely enamored that, you know, y'all just don't skip a beat. Y'all are like verbally sparring, and he got his ideas, you got yours, and different topics, and da 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 da. And even when the conversation falls flat a little bit, it don't even feel weird, you know. Y'all are able to hold space even in the quietness, and that's still something worth remembering. So yeah, it's just different strokes for different folks, you know what I'm saying? Everybody who brings about these different qualities, you know, everybody has different qualities that they're going to bring about, and they're not going to be synonymous. They're not all going to be one and the same. Everybody's best shit comes differently. So yeah, like I said, I just don't get caught up in the craziness. I don't get caught up in the craziness because you never know what's going through somebody's mind. You never know the kind of trauma that they have that led them to act in the way that they do. And to be honest with you, I'm not here to try to psychoanalyze none of these niggas. Don't care to. All right. Like I said, when I go into any situation, I'm automatically thinking, how can I benefit from this shit? Because that's exactly what a nigga is thinking when he come and press or approach me. He already got something in mind that he want to get from me, and I got something in mind that I want to get from him. So yeah, I just know, like I said, I'm not creating no permanent attachments to no man. I'm not getting overly emotionally invested. I'm just going to enjoy myself. And this ain't got, and this is clearly not going to be a strategy, not even just a strategy. This is not even going to be a way of life that everybody can understand. But shit, as long as I understand, that's all I give a fuck about. Y'all can do what y'all want with y'all personal time. Y'all can do what y'all want with y'all personal time. I just know that I sleep a lot better at night knowing that people are imperfect, and that it is better to meet them on their level and accept them for exactly who they are. Because once you start adding in expectations and all of these different rules and limitations and all of this other kind of different shit, that's when it stops becoming fun. I'm a 30-something-year-old woman. I want to have my fucking fun. So, with all of that being said, I guess I'll talk to y'all on the next recording, and we'll chop it up later.